All right, so the LILJ is back for another edition of the Weekly Crossbar Podcast. Ellis Joshua and Coach Wink coming at you here today. And Coach Wink, we are back. This time we are talking about the boys' class of 2027 on the island. So a few days ago, we did our podcast talking about the 2027 girls, presenting our All Long Island first, second, and third teams, as well as honorable mentions. And now we are back to do the same thing for the boys. So, Coach Wink, how you doing here today?
I'm doing good, Ellis. Looking forward to talking about the young men that are about to enter the crazy world of recruiting and navigate the phone calls and texts and DMs and all those other fun stuff that they have to deal with in order to find their perfect home for college and find it at such a part of their lives. And as you know, you and I talk about this at nausea. I've always been an advocate of having especially the boys, having them wait until after their junior year to get recruited. I don't believe that they should recruit the boys this early. Boys mature later, both physically and mentally. Girls, I get it a little bit. Not really. I don't think it's smart. And I also think if you're really smart, and we're seeing it now with kids changing after we just saw a young man go from Yale to Hopkins, and it happens more in the boys' game than the girls' game. And I think that's because of a young man is not ready when he's finishing his sophomore year. He's more ready after his junior year. Maturity, both mentally and physically. So I find it interesting, but looking forward to talking about some of these great young men from Long Island. There's obviously some great lacrosse on Long Island. We talk about it all the time, about the quality of lacrosse. I think it's the fundamental part of it is diminishing a little bit. I think club sports, both in every sport, not just lacrosse, it hurts development of athletes. It's funny because we talk about basketball a lot, you and I, because we're big basketball fans. You see how many Europeans are dominating the NBA now.
Yeah, it's true.
It has a lot to do with the way Europe develops athletes compared to America. Unfortunately, we'll do a podcast hopefully next week, and we'll talk about parenting, the American parent. Unfortunately, and this is trust me, I remember being a young parent when my kids were little and wanting to see them compete when they were little. And competing is not a bad thing, but really the most important thing is development and growth, both mentally and physically. So I think we're behind the 8 ball there in America. And I think we need to do a better job of developing young men and young women. And we'll talk about that in our next podcast. But let's talk about our 27s. You want me to stop bringing up the group? How do you want me to do it?
Yeah, so we can bring up the screen, and we could start with our boys All Long Island first team. So let me see if I can add stage here.
Yeah, let's see if you can add it. I'll pull it up too, so that way I can make it bigger if you don't see it well. Let me know. So you need me to do this?
Added your screen to the stage. There we go.
You can see it? Okay, so you got to go like that, right? So I got to keep it on this.
Yes.
That Lex, this is your first team, 2027. Yeah. Your TAC with Testa, O'Brien, and Spallina.
Could you zoom in a bit, Wink?
Yeah, let me see if I can do this. Hold on. That's what I gotta try to figure out. Hold on, buddy.
So if you're like at the bottom of your screen, where there's that little icon that you can drag it, and then that should give you. It's like towards the bottom right.
Well, what does that icon look like?
So it's at the bottom right. There should be a percentage, and then that tells you like how zoomed in you are, and then you should be able to just like drag that little circle either left or right to make it either.
I guess because I'm in Canva. Let me just see if I can just make it bigger. Bear with me, guys. Yeah, I see a plus sign, but that's just adding it. Yeah, I think because I'm in Canva, it's not getting bigger. I don't know why. Oh, here we go. So
yeah,
this thing here, present. Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. How's that? Better?
Yeah, there you go. That yeah, that's
Well,
better. I mean, you
yeah,
could zoom in even more if you want, and then we could just start up
you want to
top offense.
start with the offense?
Yeah,
All right, we'll talk about the attack and middies. Here we go.
yeah,
That looks good.
yeah. So okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, so at the top we're looking at our three attackmen here on the first team. So our three attackmen, we have Roy Testa of Cold Spring Harbor, we have Rocco Spallina of Massapequa, and Gavin O'Brien of Northport. And Coach Wink, we got to see those guys a decent amount of times during their high school season, and I thought they all had great sophomore years. They all played for really good teams, which I think that also matters as well. Like they they were they were the top offensive guys for really good high school teams, and we got to see them a lot really over the last couple of years, but especially during looks like your Canva went away.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to do this and navigate it. It's funny.
Okay.
You're making a very valid point there when you talk about the quality of the team that they play for and the minutes. Because in here, right, these are all top programs, Northport, Pequot, Cold Spring. And then you look at the GC kids, Asaro and
Robertiello. I mean, got heavy minutes on a team that won the state championship.
I mean, you know what you know my thoughts on the GC kids. I love GC kids because I love that they got football backgrounds. Football is the ultimate team sport. I could spend all day long talking about being an ultimate team player, and all these kids are great. I mean, Gavin O'Brien at Northport played with a lot of upperclassmen.
Yeah,
dude, that kid,
and
with me, he came out of nowhere, but I was like, who is this kid?
No, he excelled big time. He had a major sophomore year, and he played like an upperclassman.
Yeah, all these kids do. All these kids.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. All these kids step up. That's what makes them kids that we think are going to be important recruits come September 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at the face-off circle, man. What do you got there? Truzino?
So if you're going right to left, so Truzino is your LSM. So when the graphics are up on IG, just for everyone that's seeing the post and how it works, the breakdown. So we wanted to add one LSM as well as one short stick defensive midi. So if you're going right to left, your LSM is on your right. So on team one, it's Truzino. Then right at midfield, of course, that's your face-off guy. So Tommy Massaro at the face-off X. And then on the far left is your short stick D midi, which on the first team is Brady Smith of Manhasset.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. And then you got your defense. You got your first teamer defense. You got Dangler and Galley for GC. I mean, come on, two kids that play for a state championship team as sophomores.
Yeah, that's as good as it gets. Again, playing major minutes for a state championship winning program.
Yeah, it's funny. I see all these kids, and I'm looking at the pictures that you had pulled off their Instagram. You got Jake Collins, and you got Justin Farrell, and a lot of these kids' pictures are in their club gear. But if you look at the GC kids and the Northport kids, it's in their high school gear.
Their high school gear. Yeah, same thing with Testa also.
Yeah, and that means a lot to me as a coach. I have to be honest with you. I've always been a big believer. I think you know that about me. That community comes first.
100%. Yeah, we we say it all the time when we see players that they're not playing for their high school team, like they may be playing club or in a showcase or wherever, but if you notice the ones that are wearing their high school helmet, just something that always catches our eye.
Yeah, it means a lot to me. When you see a Chaminade helmet or a St. Anthony helmet or a Northport helmet, you see where these kids play high school ball. It means a lot to me. You should have a lot of pride in where you go to school, And I always say the goal is to build a great community. Great communities generally have breed great kids, and it's not a surprise that if you look at the Garden City football team and you see what they've done, what are they? What are they? Almost 60 straight wins, and it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. We'll move on. You want to talk? Oh, we got to talk about our boy Jake Collins, man. Another Chaminade goalie.
Yup. Yeah, Jake Collins, the Chaminade Flyer. He had a great summer. I know at Juniors Open, he was on the all-tournament second team, so he had a really good showing out at Juniors Open back in June. But yeah, Chaminade, as we know, they breed goalies, man. They really do. Liam Entenmann, Kieran Walsh, who he's entering his senior year. So it won't be too long before we find out where the 2027 Jake Collins is committed to school.
This is the Fox kid is it the same Fox whose brother played at Chaminade?
Yes. This is the younger brother of Ben Fox. Ben Fox, he's at UNC, of course. Sam Fox, the younger brother, a midfielder for Chaminade, one of a handful of sophomores that were on varsity this past season. Of course, you typically don't see that too much from a historic program like Chaminade, but they had a few sophomores that played up on varsity this past year.
Yeah, shout out to Chaminade. I know that Coach Moran retired this year and after an amazing career, and I know a lot of men who have played for him, and I mean he is one quality coach and man. So I hope he enjoys retirement, gets to see all his grandbabies. We got to see one of his grandkids this summer. He's got a granddaughter down in Maryland who's going to be making some noise in the recruiting trail in the next year or so. Matty Moran. Oh, you want to move over to the second team? What do you want me to do?
Yeah, we can go on to the second team.
Yeah, some really good players here. We've watched all these kids play.
Yeah, so your attack here, you're looking at Will Schwartz from West Islip. We got to see West Islip a good amount this past season. Boy, did Will Schwartz have some big games for them. Then you have Nolan Wieserek, Massapequa, Sean Hannigan from East Islip. So that's your attack. And again, talking about the teams that they played for, all teams that had deep runs in the playoffs.
Yeah. You're looking at Hills. There's Nikki Hogan, who they won a state championship for the first time. That was pretty cool.
Yup.
Transferred back from St. Anthony's, made a major impact on that team.
Absolutely. Remember the Northport game that we live streamed?
Yeah, he had a big game that day. He played. That was one of his better games.
Yeah, then you have Hayden Cypress from Chaminade, another 2027 that was on varsity this past spring.
And we got to see this kid play. This kid's a player, this Bouchard kid.
Yeah, Lucas Bouchard, Sachem North.
And then here we got more polls. We got McCaffrey.
Yeah, Logan McCaffrey. We saw him from Comswag. We saw him in that playoff game against Harborfields.
I think we got too many R's in there. I got to take an R out. Way too many R's. Definitely not. I'm going to take that out, right?
Yes, you can take out one of those R's.
I just fixed it. That's good. So when we post it on social, it should be correct. Right? There's Alex Vitale, the Cold Spring Harbor. This kid's a beast, boy. He's a big boy.
Yeah, he is. And he's also too, he's versatile. Like you could also put a pole in his hand as well. He'll play some long pole, but we see him also as a face-off guy. Saw him taking a lot of face-offs for Cold Spring.
Yeah, you got their short stick D Midi Iwano.
Yeah, another Cold Spring Harbor resident.
There's your defense. I love this Fort Hoffer kid.
Yeah, Pat Forthoffer out of Wantagh.
Yeah, he's a beast. I think this kid would be an amazing player at the college level. I think he had a really good year. Obviously Wantagh had a very good year. They should be good again this year. Luki Laraka, we love that kid. That was the kid. What was a Sachem kid? He's a Sachem kid, right?
Yeah, Sachem North. Yeah. Remember we saw them early in the Syosset game.
Yeah, those kids played well. That was a big game. The Calabria Bowl.
Yes. Then you got DiPietro from Manhasset, and your goalie on the LILJ All Long Island second team is Max Einon out of Port Washington.
Yeah, they had a great year this year. What a great job Coach Levy did in his first year there.
Yes.
Those guys played awesome. So shout out to DiPietro. Great flow.
Nice lettuce, no doubt.
Yeah, really good lettuce. I like this pic. I like the pictures from behind. I'd like to have their last name, like I like on the third team, Graydon Abisher, where his name's on the back. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got some dogs. I mean, you can just see all these kids are high level lacrosse players.
Yeah,
blow this up so you could see.
Absolutely.
You could talk about your boy. I know this kid was on varsity. Braden, right? Braden Sim. He was on.
Yeah, Brendan Sim. Yup, another 27 from Chaminade on varsity this past spring. So you have Sim, you have Abisher out of John Glenn. He had nearly 70 points this past season. Then Gavin Snyder out of St. Anthony's. Look out for him on varsity this upcoming year. Lucas Diamond out of SWR at midfield, along with Finn Pizzo, another 27 from Chaminade on varsity. And then Javen Taff out of Sayville. So Javen Taff, he is actually already committed. He's committed to Army.
Oh, look at that. Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Yep.
He made his early decision. I guess he knew what he wanted to do. Good for him.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong going to play for Army or Navy. I can tell you that. Made this nice and big. Now you could see the face-off kid.
Yeah, so Angelo Sorbera out of Ward Melville. He's their primary face-off guy, so they still have 2 more years of him. At LSM, you got Paulie DeBlasi out of Seaford. And at short stick D midi, Gavin Javetsky out of Santa Mariches. So Javetsky, he played plenty of offensive midfield for Santa Mariches, but can also excel at short stick D midi as well.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot could be said about that a kid goes to a school like Santa Mariches and, will develop. And I wouldn't be surprised if he develops. It's funny. There are kids that develop as D-middies in college and then move on to the offensive side by the time they're juniors or seniors, depending on their skill level.
Right.
We're looking at the defense. Who we got on D? Matty Camera, Cold Spring kid in the net.
Yeah, Matty Camera, your goaltender. Then defensively, Jones Voorhees out of Chaminade, Angelo Lanteri out of West Islip, and Jake Calloway out of West Hampton.
Yeah, I love this kid. I remember a couple of years ago we saw this kid when he was a freshman. I remember the Callaway kid. That kid could play. I remember seeing him at a tryout. Great job with these teams, man. I'm going to make it a little smaller so you can see it, but these will all be posted on social, and then you're going to have some honorable mentions, right? You're going to be.
Yep. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll have these posted on Instagram at LI Lax Journal, and then there's going to be a link in the bio as well to the website. And so these graphics will all be on the website as well, along with the full episode of the podcast. And on the website, too, we'll also have the honorable mentions as well. So we'll have everything up on the website. And, of course, the podcast can also be found on YouTube as well.
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out to a guy who is obviously a big name in lacrosse. Matter of fact, his nephew, Rocco Spallina. So Joe Spallina did a webinar last night that I got to watch on Top Tier Recruiting. Top Tier Recruiting is a platform. It's geared to girls lacrosse. I don't think it really matters if you're looking to educate yourself on recruiting. But Joe did a webinar with the founder, Brooke Magnuson, last night, and he just talked about the recruiting process and leading up to September 1st and then navigating it. I got to tell you something. He was spectacular, Ellis. Joe he's a wealth of knowledge. The guy's coached every level of lacrosse, both men's and women's. There aren't too many people, it's funny when you think about this, that have done what Joe's done. He's coached professionally on the men's side. He's coached the USA team on the women's side. He's got a nationally ranked college team. He's coached club lacrosse. So he understands the craziness of club lacrosse and the navigation of the recruiting process, both with his own children.
Yeah, boys and girls.
Right. He's got 4 of them. 3. Now he's got 4 in college because Lex is in college now. And then Liv, who's the little ones in 4th or 5th grade, she'll be coming up. And then he's helped all these kids. He's helped all the Crush kids and all of the YJ kids from his teams that he's coached at the club level. I got to tell you something. It was wonderful to listen to him educate the public because he really has a good understanding of the process And I think he really gave some good insight to the parents and the kids that were listening to it. So if you get a chance, go on to the top tier and check it out. It's a very inexpensive subscription, and you'll learn a lot about recruiting. I thought it was a really cool thing, and Joe was awesome, and they do a good job. So just wanted to give the world a heads up about that.
Yeah, you're not going to find too many people with a resume like Joe Spallina, considering both boys and girls.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's funny. I'm going to stop sharing just so we could finish up our podcast. I think it's important that parents lean on people that, are experts. And I consider Joe an expert. He's an expert. He's an excellent coach. He's obviously a very successful coach, meaning wins and losses. But more importantly is he's helped a lot of kids through the process. And I think it's important that you listen and learn, because I know a lot of parents and kids are like nervous. A lot of the boys that are going to be watching this, they're going to be nervous because they're not going to know what to do. So my suggestion is watch Joe's interview with Brooke. I think he'll be very insightful and help you as you start to navigate the process, because everybody's process is different. And it's, some go a month, some go 14 months. So
exactly. And one of the things that we took from the webinar that was posted on LI Lax Journal last night from Coach Spallina, which I think is a great piece of advice for those going through recruiting. One of the things that he said on the webinar is that September 1st is only day one. Like it's not the end. It's not the end all be all. It's not the end. It's only the beginning. So like, don't be deterred if like September 1st comes and like the day ends and you don't know where you're going to school. Like it's only the first day.
Exactly. So kudos to Joe for putting that on last night with Brooke, and hopefully some of the people watching this podcast can subscribe to Brooke's top tier recruiting and learn and to help their own kids and guide them, because I think it's a big advantage that we have living on Long Island and having so many people on Long Island that can guide and help. So it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see over the weeks and months where these young men end up committing to school. And I mean, one of the things that we mentioned on the girls podcast is that a lot of times like things change. So it's like you may have kids that are late bloomers, so to speak, that end up committing to schools that they may not have committed to if they committed right away, just because, especially on the boys' side, like you said earlier, you're still kind of going through that growth and maturity and development. So I have a feeling that there's going to be plenty of kids that we'll be seeing over the next year or so that are still making their commitments, just because you still have that year to kind of grow and mature and develop. So things change over time. And
and we wish everybody the best of luck in the process. And obviously, reach out to us. We're here to help, and anybody that we can put you in touch with that can guide you. We're here to make sure that everybody's educated on the process, and that's why we do these things. And hopefully, people learn from them.
Yeah, 100%. But I think that's going to do it for this edition of the Weekly Crossbar Podcast, talking all things about the Long Island boys class of 2027 with the LILJ first, second, and third teams. And once again, you can find these graphics on the LI Lax Journal Instagram page, and check out the website as well. There's going to be a link in the bio on Instagram where you can see these graphics as well as the honorable mentions as well. But just want to thank everyone that tuned into this podcast. And this is Ellis Joshua and Coach Wink signing off. And we will talk to you on the other side.